Once again, it's my pleasure to participate in this very important panel. I think it's very timely to organize it right now because it's only about 1 month before the member states have to submit their recovery and resilience plans to the member states. I have prepared some slides, so I'll just go very fast through them. If you can put the first slide, please. On the first slide, you will see very clearly that what are the general objectives of the Recovery and Resilience Facility: promote social, economic, territorial cohesion, strengthen economic and social resilience, mitigate the crisis which we have, and at the same time, very importantly, support green and digital transition. If we go to the next slide, please, focus on the digital. As it has been said already by previous panelists, we have very high level of ambition regarding the digital transformation in all member states. It is clearly stated by the legislator that at least 20% of the expenditure has to be devoted for supporting digital transition, and this has been endorsed by the Council and the Parliament. And at the same time, with the Commission, we have developed a specific methodology to take the expenditure for the digital. What are we looking at? So we look at the investments in connectivity, in digital-related investments in R&D, in supporting human capital, also in issues like e-government, digital public services, local digital ecosystems, supporting digitalization for businesses, and also investment in digital capacity and deployment of advanced technologies, as well as greening the digital sector. Some of these issues have already been spelled out by the previous panelists as well, for which I'm very grateful. So where is the starting point of Croatia? If you go to the next slide, we see that Croatia in DESI index, Digital Economy and Society Index, is somewhere at the lower third of the EU member states. But at the same time, as you know very well in DESI, we look at actually 5 different segments: in connectivity, in human capital, in use of internet services, then in the integration of digital technologies, and last but not least, in digital public services. So where does Croatia stand in specific parts here? In some of the parts, Croatia is performing better than average of the EU, and in some parts, some of these 5 segments which I mentioned earlier, Croatia is underperforming. So let's look just very briefly in the areas where Croatia is performing really well. Croatia is doing an excellent job respecting the integration of digital technologies. Very clearly, some of the larger companies of Croatia are doing very good job regarding uptaking specific digital services, like, for example, using big data analytics or cloud services. And in some part, and the major challenge, not only for Croatia, but this is important for all EU member states, is supporting digital transition for SMEs. If you go to the next slide, please, digitalization of businesses in Croatia, you see very clearly that, for example, some digital innovation hubs are being used quite extensively. However, for example, digital innovation, business models, production processes, marketing products, development of services, it still remains a challenge. Where Croatia is doing very good job as well, if you go to the next slide, digital skills in Croatia, here we have, I would say, general figure quite good, so it's a bit better, so it's just around the average. However, Croatia is for example, in some parts, for example, ICT graduates doing excellent job, so better than average in the EU. However, in some other parts, if you look at the figures which were stated by the ICT sector, 62% of the Croatian enterprises are unable to fill vacancies in 2019, and I think the same figure in 2000 or similar figure in 2020. So what does it mean? It seems that there is considerable brain drain going on in Croatia, and I think that is one of the challenges of Croatia as well. If you go to the next slide, please. I think that, the starting point is that Croatia is in some parts doing a good job. However, now the main challenge for Croatia is how to develop a very strategic approach and use these substantial funds, which have been very clearly recognized by the Prime Minister. I mean, just as a reminder, on the top of 8 billion of euros devoted to the cohesion, on the top of 4.2 billion euros for agriculture, common agricultural policy of Croatia, we have 6 billion euros in grants for Croatia and up to 3.6 billion euros for loans in Croatia. And then, in addition to that, there is about €500 million going for recovery assistance and cohesion in territories of Europe, and additional 169 million euros for just transition funds. So there are huge amounts of money coming to Croatia. What we would like to see as European Commission is that there is a strategic framework which would link these huge amounts of money, link it with the reform program of Croatia, which would be in line with country-specific recommendations, and at the same time address the challenges which Croatia is facing in the long term. What we think is important now that would happen, Prime Minister said very clearly that there will be a public consultation. Unfortunately, it seems that there will be very little time for really profound public consultation because the member states have to submit their plans until the 30th of April to the Commission. Commission will then have 2 months to analyze the programs, and then our opinion and our views and all the programs will be put to the table of the Council for the approval. Where do we see specific opportunities? I read earlier on some of the statements from, for example, from the Employers Association of Croatia, also from the Association of Entrepreneurs. I think it's very important that we don't look at this RRF as an easy money, but also look at the loans which are available. As I said, a significant amount for Croatia, up to nearly 4 billion euros. So I think with help of the private sector, a real substantial change could happen, not by helping Croatia to get to the business as before the pandemics, but to the next level, to the higher level. And actually, I very much subscribe to what has been stated by, for example, colleagues from the OECD, to address one of the main challenges of Croatia will remain to increase the productivity in the country. And what I mean by that, of course, not by working more, but by improving the added value per capita in Croatia. And that could be done, I will allow myself to say, only by the digital transformation. Of course, Commission is working very, very closely now with the Croatian national authorities. We have received a first draft already just before Christmas. Now, I think about 10 days ago, we have received the next draft, altogether about 700 pages of text, which is very profoundly elaborated. But as I said, the devil is in the detail. So now it's important that we use these last 5 weeks in order to make the best possible program which will allow Croatia to address the challenges which are in front of them. Thank you very much. That's my presentation. And one very important thing which is in my last slide is this multi-country digital projects. It's very important whenever we look at the digital transformation, of course, the member states have to focus on their own situation, but not forget the European dimension. And this is the multi-country digital projects, for example, how to use the Euro quantum communication infrastructure, where Croatia has spelled out its interest. Also, for example, connected public administration, so connected all over Europe, public administration and the digital innovation hubs. So whenever we look at specific member states, the member states have always have to have at the back of their heads also this pan-European dimension on how to use these multi-country digital projects, which are very much promoted by the European Commission, in order to address for example, digital single market on European scale in the right way. Thank you very much.